Hi friends, welcome back to Flosstube. My name is Caitlin. This is Stitch, Read, Repeat, a channel all about cross-stitch and reading. So welcome. If it's your first time, I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're coming back, thank you for joining me today. I like to say that everyone is welcome here in this space and that I hope that you feel comfortable and welcome. And let's just jump into it. I had some comments last time about kind of my way that I start things, and I just want to say that I do try to hold space for the hard stuff and recognize that we come to Flosstube maybe for an escape, but also recognizing that so many of us are being affected by what's going on right now in our country and the way that the government, federal government decisions are impacting things at our state and local level. I feel that myself, and know that so many important services are really in a space of uncertainty right now. I sit with that every day in my work, in my personal life. I know folks that are being affected by these things, and I'm doing what I can. But one of my favorite Flosstubers, Wendy, she said, you know, joy is an act of resistance. And I guess I'm just gonna sit here with some joy this morning and hope that you can find the same with me. So today's Flosstube is kind of a doozy. I've got a lot to talk about. March was a very busy month. The elephant in the room, I cut all my hair off. So I chopped off 14 inches right after market, and it feels really good. You get just kind of wash and dry and go this morning. So anyway, it feels good. I go through this cycle periodically, and we're going to see how I like it short again. So also, you might see some words on my shirt. It says, yes, I really do need all these cross-stitch patterns, which I think we've all decided that collecting is a different hobby than actually stitching. I will say Flosstube has allowed me to be more consistent in my stitching and excited to show you things, but I am a collector, and I really do need all these charts. So keep that in mind today as we talk about my market shenanigans. So I had a giveaway last video, and I haven't heard back from the winner. So I'm going to put their name on the screen here. I think your name might be Helga, but I had given away this chart, Pine Tree Chalet, by Blueberry Ridge Designs. This was a chart that I had stitched as a model for a shop in Dover, Delaware called Floss and Flame. Helga, if you can get back to me by April 13th is going to be the deadline there. So if I don't hear from you, I'm going to draw again just so I can get this out to folks. We've missed winter, but I think that, you know, someone might want this chart, so I'd love to send it to somebody who's interested in it. Okay, so I've got one finish to show you today. It's a crazy fast finish for me. I've got a lot of works in progress. I've got stuff about Nashville, stuff about starting new projects. I'm looking at my notes here. Talk about plans, then we'll talk about books. So welcome, and I hope you've got something good to drink. I'm filming this in the morning. I've already had my cup of tea, so I've just got some water, but I've got lots of stuff to share with you, and I hope that you enjoy. So my finish. All right, this is a brand new chart for market. Again, my friend Jen, who owns Floss and Flame in Dover, Delaware, it's a local needlework shop. She's also got a website. She is relatively new to her brick and mortar store, and so I had offered to help her get some models on the walls. And so we picked out this chart for market. This is called Friendship Garden by Plum Street Samplers. And here she be. Oh, she's so pretty. I love it. It was so much fun to stitch. I stitched this in 13 days, which is amazing for me. And I just love the quote there. If I had a flower for every time I thought of you, I could walk in my garden forever. And it's got these two girls. They're friends. Maybe they're lovers. Who knows? But beautiful flower garden at the top. And then the fun sampler-esque verse with some kind of quilt stars at the bottom. This was originally stitched on like a tan samplery color fabric, and Jen chose this fabric instead. So this is one of the new colors that came out by Atomic Ranch from Market. It's the color called Thorn. I stitched this on a 40 count linen, and this is using one strand of floss. So this is all the called for. There were some classic color works, some weeks dye works, and some DMC. One strand of floss over 2 linen threads. So there's long stitches in the flower garden and some in her skirt. It's got a very subtle kind of plaid feel. and then the words, and then the stars at the bottom. So Friendship Garden by Plum Street Samplers. This is brand new for Market 2025. I had the opportunity to speak with Paulette briefly when I was there, and I'd never talked to her before. She is so much fun, and yeah, she designs beautiful things. So Jen, excited to get this to you soon and see it framed and on the wall. So if you're down there, look for this chart. It was a really fun stitch. All right, so we're going to jump right into works in progress, and bear with me, we're going to hear zippers and things today because we just are. That's just what it is. So these are in no particular order. I'm just going to grab them kind of as they're in my pile. This first one was another market release that I love it. It's not something I would have typically chosen, but I love books. I worked at a library for a while. This is Crow Librarian by Fine Frog Stitching. I'd never heard of this designer before. Like I said, kind of a step outside of what I would typically stitch, but it's been a lot of fun. It's charted all in DMC, and yeah, it's been a blast. So I'm stitching this on a 20 count Aida, and let me grab, I can tell you exactly what the fabric is. So I use these little cross stitch journals from It's So Emma, and I really like them. I'll show you what this page looks like so you can see it. So there's space for the pattern name and the designer. You can put your start date, what fabric you're stitching it on, and the stitch count. You can put the size if you want. I like to put the floss in. You can track your time if you want. I don't do that. And then any notes. So you can see this is on a 20 count Desert Night Aida by Atomic Ranch, all DMC fabrics, or DMC flosses, excuse me. And so I've just got to start, but here it is. So building out that kind of frame around him, and then the start of his book that he's holding in his hand. So this is as wide as the piece is, and it's probably going to go down to the bottom of the Q snap, so I'll have to move it probably, but yeah, it's been a fun stitch. Lots of counting. I worked on this a little bit last night. You need some good light, but it's easy to work on. So from afar, I really like how the shading is coming together, and the fabric is really fun. So that's Crow Librarian by Fine Frog Stitching. Okay, this next one is kind of a mess, so let me grab a picture. Sorry, crinkle, crinkle. You know, I get it all set up for myself to stitch, and then I forget that I have to have it set up so I can show you on camera, but that's all right. You're just stitching away, so you got time, right? So this chart is by Carriage House Samplings. This was one of my Whip Go calls for March. This was number 9, and it's called A Mind Independent and Free. It is huge. You can see it's very long and skinny, so I actually am doing this on a skinny half of fabric is what Susan called it. I love this chart. I love the verse on it. I think that I love alphabets, you know this, so but I felt like it was very dark and kind of heavy feeling, and so I asked Susan Coates at Keepsakes to do a conversion for me and lighten it up. And so she gave me, it's a full silk conversion, which is fun. I haven't stitched on it as much as I would like, just because I was pushing for a finish on that Plum Street, but you will see here the start of it has been incredible, and this floss color is amazing. So this is a Gloriana floss in the color Seaweed. And I've just got the start of 2 letters in. But can we talk about that floss color? The variegation, it goes from like purple to blue to green. It's so pretty. So those are, they're kind of these blocky letters. So the chart itself is going to fit inside my Q-snap as far as width goes. So it's, like I said, it's not a very big chart. But it's, let's see, 5 letters across at the top, and then you just work your way down. So this is the start on that one. Like I said, this is the color Seaweed by Gloriana, and I'm doing this one on This is 40 count brown sugar linen by Fiber on a Whim. Fiber on a Whim tends to put a lot of green in their fabric, so you can see a little bit of green there. But I am enjoying this start and look forward to continuing. And also, can we just talk about this really sweet, I've got a needle on there. Let's take that off so you can see. I picked these needle minders up at Market last year. It's a Beauty and the Beast. They're two separate ones, but I couldn't separate them. I had to have them together. I think they're so cute. So that was one of my Whip Go calls for March. I'm not sure if Susan is still doing those conversions. I know that, I mean, I imagine it's a lot of work for her to, you know, I think she likes to do it. She's got a great eye for color, but, you know, you've got people like me that are like, I don't like this at all. Can you completely change it? This is the second project of hers that I have that she's done that. And, I've been pleased every time, with the things that she's done for me. Okay, this next one is completely out of the blue. I blame my friend Jen for this. I had asked her if she had this chart in her shop, and she didn't, but she said, I can order it for you, which of course I said, oh, that's sure, yes. Did I need it right away? Absolutely not. And then once it came in, she said, well, I want to stitch that. Do you want to stitch it together? And I said, sure. And she said, well, when do you want to start? And I said, and she goes, we could start this weekend. And I said, okay. And so we did. And I haven't loved it. So let me get it all set up here, get you some details, and then I can tell you more about it. And I wonder if did I even put it in my book? Sometimes I just put a placeholder in here and then I'm scrambling. Yeah, I started it on March 1st. That's about all I can tell you. This is, I want to tell you what this fabric is because that's the best part, I think. Okay, so the chart, enough suspense. The chart is The Winter is Past by Blackbird Designs. I've never stitched a Blackbird, so this is my first, which is exciting. This chart as is, it doesn't really call to me. It's pretty, but I had no desire to stitch it. Until I saw on Instagram, Holly, I believe is her first name, from Mrs. Jones Stitches. She has a Flosstube. She did a complete conversion of this. She loves color and cotton flosses, and so she did a conversion with color and cotton, brightened it up, and I fell in love. Tulips are my favorite flower, and so this border with these tulips, she did it in a different color, and it was beautiful. So I am trying to copy what she did. So I ended up ordering as many of those color and cotton flosses as I could. A couple of them were limited editions, so I had to sub in with some other colors from other overdyed flosses. But this is what I've got to start with. And so mine is completely different. And this is where we're at. Isn't it so pretty? I just think it's beautiful. I'm so excited about it. And so most of the blues are my subs. The pinks are from Color and Cotton, the greens and the browns and the golds. I just started this basket down here. These are all eyelets, and then there's a basket that goes underneath that, but it completely changes the look. This fabric was, I think, a game changer for it. This is by Shakespeare's Peddler, and it's called, or Kitten Stitcher. Teresa Vanette is the one who dyed it. Christmas Wish is the color. It's a 36 count linen. I know I didn't iron this, but I mean, I'm just in love, and it's worked up so quickly. I have a picture of Holly's finish, and I'm just kind of, okay, that looks like her darkest blue, so I'm plugging it in as I go. I love how it's looking. Totally different feel than the original, and Jen is stitching the original colors, and so it's really neat to see them side by side. So this is Winter is Past by Blackbird, using my own conversion, heavily influenced by Mrs. Jones Stitches. I need to get back to that. I had taken it off the Q-snap, and looking at it now, I'm like, oh, I gotta get back to that one. Because I have really, really enjoyed stitching on that. It makes me look again, I'm a collector. It made me look at some of the other Blackbird charts in my stash. And see, you know, is there something else maybe that I want to pick up and stitch? I do have a couple smalls that I'd like to stitch. She has one, and it was in a book, and the antique was from Nebraska, and so that's where I'm from, and so that's kind of neat to stitch. So we'll see if and when I get to that. I wanted to show you a little bit more progress that I had made on a Whip Go pull from February. I didn't get super far, but I got far enough that I thought I could show it to you again. I also just really love this linen, so I'm going to talk about it. This was a kit from Country Sampler in Wisconsin. It's another Plum Street chart, and I'm finding that I really like Plum Street. I really like the way Paulette designs and the way that she uses color and maximizes kind of her design. So this is Comfort and Joy by Plum Street Samplers. And I'm stitching mine on a 40 count. This linen is the color Baked Clay by Fox and Rabbit. So since you last saw it, I added the moon, and I added one of the chimneys on the house and part of the little fence that's up by the chimney. So not a whole lot of progress, but enough that I thought, well, I can show you what I did. So the moon, you can kind of see the color variation there. There's two colors in that moon, just to give it a little bit of depth, but it's probably going to be, I think it's like probably over to here. So it's cute. It's coming along. With this color of fabric, I do need some pretty good light. I've noticed that I have a harder time seeing it. I think that when this one was dyed, it kind of shrunk up a little bit. So I think it's a little smaller than a 40, or that might just be my, I don't know, maybe I'm making that up. I know some of these fabrics shrink more than others, but this one feels a little smaller, but I've really enjoyed that. Okay, let's see, I did that one. Okay, this is my last one for the month, and this is another Whip Go call. This was number 24. This is the Bird Neck Sampler by Bright Needle. I'm going to try to get you a better picture of that without the glare. It's really cute. But I learned a lesson with this chart, so we're going to talk about it. I'm going to show you what I stitched, and then tell you what happened. So I started this when I was in Nashville with my friend Ryan, and I just went to town. I loved it. It's so sweet. I even posted this picture on Instagram because I thought, well, it's progress. I want to show somebody. So I got the first block done. I'm doing this on a 32 count smoky white linen. So I'm using 2 strands of floss, and it's mostly DMC with a few anchors, and then this color for the letters is Smoke by Classic Colorwork. So it's got a little bit of variation in that. Fun. I love it. The border is finicky because you got to do one little triangle at a time, but it's coming together, and I think it's going to be really cute. However, I kitted this chart up when I first came back to stitching. I was taking a chance on a linen, and when you look at the instructions in the chart, I don't know why they did this. So they give you the stitch count, and then they say to compute the area, divide the stitch count by the fabric count. Okay, sure. And then they give you, what they say is they give you an example, and then they say design area is. So I think when I was kitting up my chart, I just looked at the example and I pulled fabric for their example design area and not the actual design area. So my chart's not going to fit on this piece of fabric. So, yeah, I got to start over. I haven't started over. This is all I got. If I had known that, I could have, if I had measured again, if I had really taken the time and not just willy-nilly started, I could have given myself a much smaller margin and made this cut work. I didn't do that. So, that's okay. We live and learn. It's a good reminder for me to double check, triple check my fabric every time I pull out one of these, Whip Go calls that has been kitted and sitting around. But yeah, so I'm going to have to restart this guy. I've got a trip coming up in April with some extra airport time. That might be a good time to do that because it's just pick a color, and the triangles on the border are kind of all the same size, so it's easy to just kind of mindlessly do. but rookie mistake, you know, Caitlin from 3 years ago did that, and that's fine. I will probably try to salvage the better part of that linen and maybe make some smalls or something. I'm not going to rip out all that stitching and just go from there. So we live and learn, and I can laugh about it now, but I was kind of frustrated in the moment because I thought, why didn't I check? Why didn't I double check? But that's okay. We're here. It's fine. So those are my whips from the last time that we spoke. Excuse me. Okay, so Nashville. I wanted to talk about Nashville, my experience, the shopping, the residual shopping on the back end. And I just want to say that we should remember that collecting is a different hobby than stitching. Yeah, Nashville. I had a great time. I'm so appreciative to Steph and to Jason from Lindy Stitches for allowing me to come back another year and help them. I joke that I was their errand girl for the weekend. So whatever they needed, I was happy to do. I have a car when I'm down there, so I made lunch runs for us during the day, made sure that they had water, you know, took care of them so they could do what they do best. They invited another person this year, so Cindy was also there, and it was so fun to get to know her. She's a local, and so she was able to just go home every night. And with 2 people plus Steph and Jason, it was even better because we could do more things. And I was happy to see that they were comfortable enough to be able to leave their booth and go and kind of do the mingling. As somebody who's not a designer, who is strictly there as a helper, that's one thing I wish Market had more of, is time for the people in the industry to connect, because when they have to work all weekend, it's hard because they're all in the same space, but they don't get a lot of time together. And so it was nice to be able to shoo Steph and Jason out and say, hey, go have fun. And so we did that. I learned a lot, lifted a lot, and just had a great time. So I was really reminded during Market, like, the importance of kind of cheering each other on. And I just want to say that, you know, there's shops that come to Market that are huge, and there's shops that come to Market that are small. There's vendors that do a ton of sales, and there's vendors that are just starting or maybe have a very niche audience. But they're all doing great work. They're doing the best they can. And I think that it's really important that we remember that. And not to get on my soapbox, but just to say, you know, bravo to all of you that were there. And it was so fun to see everyone and connect with folks from my time. You know, I've lived a lot of places across the country, and so getting to see friends from other states that I haven't seen in a year. And, you know, just connecting with shops. And whether a shop came into Steph's booth and bought, you know, 4 of one chart, or they bought 25 of one chart, they were all so happy to be there and excited to get their stuff home to their stitchers. And that's what it's all about, I think. So I would just encourage you, you know, if you see your local shop person, tell them thank you for all the work that they're doing. Support your small businesses if you can. Kind of spread the wealth around. I think that that's okay too. And just know that these business owners on both sides of Market have been working their hardest. And Market's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And hopefully by now everyone has had a chance to kind of take a breath. So thanks to Steph and Jason. I think, you know, it seems like I can go back next year, so fingers crossed. Had a lot of fun, and it was great. So when I was at Market, I was able to stay with my good friend Ryan. Ryan is the designer behind Wild Violet. She's been on a little bit of a hiatus, but her website is still open if you want to check out her designs. But she lives in Franklin, and so it was nice to be able to kind of unwind with her at the end of the day. She has a beautiful home and was a great host. And so I was able to spend a lot of time with her and catch up with some other Nashville friends. So appreciate that opportunity and the space to just take a breather after a long weekend. So I did some shopping at Market. And so this is kind of all over the place. I shopped at Market. I shopped when I got home. So this is kind of, I guess it's a mixture, I should say. So I'm just going to show you a bunch of stuff. When I came home from Market the following weekend, my friend Jen at Floss and Flame, she had kind of a Market, she modeled it after like an album release party, right? Because she's really into music and concerts. And so we got like VIP lanyards, and she had music, like she had blow up guitars, and it was really fun. It was like a merch table, and she worked really hard to get her shop set up and ready for that, and she had a great turnout, it seemed. So congrats, Jen. I had done a pre-order with her, and I also picked up a few things while I was there, because, you know, when you see it out, you know. And I did a little bit of shopping while I was at market. That is a perk of going as a helper, but I waited until Sunday just to make sure that the shops had the time to purchase things, because there are a few things that run out. And I can always get them from my local shop. So I picked up some fabric, which I'll show you. It's my favorite part. And yeah, it was fun to just kind of wander and look at the models, and, you know, seeing things in real life can sometimes make a big difference for you. So enough talking, Caitlin. What did you buy? All right, here we go. I inadvertently ended up buying a piece of every, what am I trying to say? Fiber on a Whim put out 3 new colors for market for fabric, and between shopping there and shopping with an LNS, I got a piece of every color. And so I'll just show you those colors. So the first one, this is Dolomite. This is a 28 count linen. It's a pretty pink. It's not quite as pink as like Kathy Haberman's Ladybug Picnic, that the fabric that's stitched on, but it's very pretty. So this is Dolomite. And then this is called Gray Spinel. This is a 32 count linen. And then I'm going to put this next one next to it. This is a Smoky Quartz linen. And this is a 46 count. So you can see the gray is much more gray, and the Smoky Quartz, I was trying to decide what color is it. It's kind of a gray, yellow, green kind of, it's pretty. I got a 46 count just to mess with, and a 32 count, and then the 28. So, so here they all are together if you need an understanding of the colors. So, those were the new ones this year. All right, what else did I get? Okay, I picked up, I think I had told you about this last time, one of my favorites, an Ode to Libraries. Even more important, in Heartstrings and Flurry. I love Beth so much. Her charts are beautiful. She's a wonderful person. Her husband Matt was there too, so it was neat to see him again. I had just seen them in November at the attic, and he was talking about all of his new things he makes with wood in the boardroom, so check that out if you haven't. I had pre-ordered this chart, Merry Christmas Holly by Lucy Beam. And it's just a sweet little pillow. It's small, 79 by 43. She stitched it on the new color from Lap and Loops called Curtain Call. I did not get any of that fabric. It sold out very quickly from the Lap and Loops room. But I did pick up some of this at Jen's shop. This is, I think the color is Joy Lynn. It's from Atomic Ranch. So, yeah, it's a pretty red. And I think that this chart next to that, I think that's going to be really nice. This next one was a total impulse buy. This is a new fabric color from Fox and Rabbit called Cactus Wren. Jen had some of this at her store. It's very pretty. I got this in a 40 count. And this is not the called for, but this is a Daily Reminder by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. She stitched hers on Arboreal linen by Cedar River. But I think that it would look really nice, silly glare, on this Cactus Wren. I love the quote on this, be good and do good. And I can't remember if I was reading in the chart where someone said they talked to Brenda about this, but that was what her grandma used to say. I think it was a story when like the kids would go somewhere, be good and do good. And I might adopt that for my daughter. I think it's a good reminder for all of us. This next one was a huge hit at market. Teresa Vanette, who has the website Kitten Stitcher, she designs under Shakespeare's Peddler. She has this new chart out called Joy, new to market. She designed with some specialty flosses from Gentle Art, and Teresa doesn't take pre-orders, so shops had to go and actually purchase their things once they got there. And she and her Flosstube said, oh, I never run out. And she ran out of this chart this year. So this was a huge hit for her. But I did get the Gentle Art thread pack from Wendy Stitches. And so I'm going to start this one soon, I think. It's not very big, 93 by 146. So similar in size to the Plum Street chart that I just finished. I just think it's beautiful. Speaking of Teresa, she had talked about on her Flosstube, she has a couple new designs out on this new color by XJU Design. It's called Dark Soil. And so I picked up some of that off of her Etsy. And it's like a gray, brown. It's really pretty. Not quite as dark as, well, actually, and this isn't a very popular color. This is that Dark Night or something from Atomic Ranch. And I'm doing the Midnight or Crow Librarian on. So you can see the Dark Soil is a little more brown than this one is. Not that this is too super black, but it's a pretty color. I saw Teresa's finish on it. I'm not going to stitch that chart of Teresa's anytime soon, but I just thought this fabric was really pretty, so I bought some. That's not market either. That's just my purchase. A couple other charts that I bought. I've never stitched anything by Wildflower Stitching, but this floral geometry I thought was really pretty. Done all in, well, Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works. They give you a DMC conversion, and it's, is there a stitch count? 101 by 101. So small, but I thought it was cute. I like how they framed it. This next one, I don't know if I'm ever going to stitch this because it's a lot of stitching, but I've seen people start it and it's so pretty. This is From Velvet to Linen by Kathy Barrick. Yeah, it's beautiful. She did it, she bought this Theorem at an antique place in Pennsylvania. It's like painted on velvet, and then she modified it to cross stitch, and it's gorgeous. So maybe one day, but again, collecting, right? Oh, Caitlin. Okay, this is kind of a sidebar. Stephanie from Wendy Stitches had ordered some of these, and I was waiting for them to be listed on her website, and she was so confused why I liked them. And I said, well, I grew up with a dad who's a hog farmer, and pigs have always had a special place in my heart. And so Steph gifted these to me, so thank you, Steph. But these are little tiny floss drops, but they're pigs. And they're from Willoughby Ann, and they're called Truffles drops. They're so cute. So I need to find a special project to use these with, but I love these. Willoughby Ann does, I know Steph in her shop carries swans and frogs. I think she did Eiffel Towers at one point, but these pigs, man, these pigs are so cute. So if there's a pig on a chart, I'm drawn to it. My first stuffed animal in the hospital was a pig. Another fun place that I like to go at market is Accoutrement Designs. They do really great needle binders. So I got a Canadian flag. My mom is Canadian. I love Canada. I love my Canadian friends and family. Even more now, I love Canada. So I got this one. I'm a Swiftie. I think you all know that. My favorite NFL team is the Kansas City Chiefs. And so they had this Swift 87 jersey. So I had to get that. And then I got this one. It says Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal, which is a classic. And Christmas, I love Christmas. So great needle minders. And I was happy to get those. And then, like I said, fabric. This is more fabric than I will need for a long time. But that's what happens when you buy it at market. Sometimes you have to buy a larger cut. So I might be gifting some of this to people. But I got two colors from Teresa Vanette. Again, Kitten Stitcher, Shakespeare's Peddler. So the top one is called Chocolate Bar, and the bottom one is called Mrs. Claus. So this is a 36 count Chocolate Bar linen. This is a 40 count Mrs. Claus linen. I love this green so much. It's gonna be great for Christmas, and just, I love green. So it was her last piece there, and I was like, I'm gonna have to buy that. So Teresa had brought so much fabric with her to market. I was blown away. And I was so happy because like I said, I don't shop till Sunday. And so oftentimes, you know, things are depleted, which is good for the seller. But Teresa had a lot left, so I didn't feel like I'd missed out at all. So, okay, I think that's enough. That's everything. God love it, Caitlin. I had fun. You know, market is market, and I tried to be thoughtful about what I purchased this year. I know last year when I was there, it was like overwhelming and so exciting. This year I took time to really think about, what am I going to stitch? Do I have plans to stitch that? You'll notice I tried to pair things with fabric, so I'm not just buying a bunch of charts. The last thing I need is more kitted up things, but I've been stitching a lot more thanks to Flosstube, and so I think that I'm going to see more finishes as we go, which will be fulfilling and exciting. So one of the other fun things that happened while I was down there, like I said, my friend Ryan, she runs the Nashville meetup for stitchers, and someone had contacted her and said, hey, I think their mom had passed, or maybe mom was moving to like an assisted living facility and no longer needed or wanted her cross-stitching things. So she brought Ryan. Ryan went to pick up and filled her car with old books and charts and things. And so Ryan and I had done a FaceTime call, and she had kind of gone through the stash and asked me, you know, is there anything you want? And so she allowed me to pick some things. And so she gave me that stuff when I was down there. So I came home, I should have taken a bigger suitcase. But like, for example, the big book of Christmas quickies. I think this Santa is like very dated and very cute. I mean, if you want to wear a frosty hat and have a ho 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 sweatshirt, you can. It's full of stuff, all kinds of things. I love these old books to look through and pull different things from. There's a Christmas alphabets chart. This one is 365 tiny cross-stitch designs by Cooler Design Studio. They've got on the back like a wreath of the month, a flower of the month, a mini sampler of the month, all these monthlies. So lots of different things, you know, you can pull something from. I thought this was fun. I love Santas. This is Christmas Gentlemen. All these old style Santas. And then this one, Christmas cross stitch, over 500 festive motifs and design. And they have this series of hymns. So like this one is We Three Kings. I think that they're really pretty. So these are something I love to just file away, and you know, sometimes if I get a wild hair, I'll pull out a book and see what I can find to stitch out of it. I mean, it's chock full. It's chock full. Like here's like just an example of stuff. All kinds of things. Santa stop here. I mean, it's just page after page after page of designs. So Ryan, thank you for getting that to me. I really appreciate it. And one other thing that I don't know if I've talked about on the channel, I'm just blabbing, guys. Thanks for putting up with me. I have been a part of Black Cat X Stitchery. She does a quarterly project bag, like mystery project bag. And so this is her information. Is that focusing? So she's at Black Cat X Stitchery on Instagram. She's got an Etsy shop. I really like her bags. I think that they're well made. And so with her quarterly club, it's a mystery, like I said. So she makes a vinyl front project bag. So the front had these really pretty flowers, and then the back had this really soft European print. And then she makes you a matching needle minder, and then she also includes a little, I don't know, a little thread bed. And so it's got a snap and a spot for your needle. And so that comes quarterly. You just get on her list. I'm not sure if she's still taking opening or additions or not. You could reach out to her and ask. But for what it is, the price is great, and her project bags are well made, and I always enjoy, you know, a surprise in the mail every quarter. So I like that it's not always super like matchy with, oh, it's April, so it's Easter, or it's December, so it's, you know, a winter holiday. She does different things, which is fun because it kind of, you know, expands your horizons a little bit. Okay, what else? Gotta get all my ducks in a row here. So the other thing I wanted to say, which was really exciting, I mentioned my friend Jen had a market party, and I got there a little bit late because they had a speaking engagement that morning for work. And I came rushing in and had to, you know, take care of business and do other things. And so I was kind of in the zone, like in my own world. And I went to grab my stuff and I turned around and I went to walk to my table and someone said, "Oh, hey, you know, we just wanted to say hi." And it was someone who found me on Flosstube and found the shop through my Flosstube. So Caitlin, her name is Caitlin. She spells it correctly, which is great. It was her birthday the next day. They were, her and her mom, and I'm so sorry, Caitlin's mom, I forget your name. But it was so nice to meet both of you. They're folks from Maryland who had come over to Delaware, which is, you know, not a terribly far drive. And had shopped at Floss and Flame, and it sounded like they were having an awesome day for her birthday. So Caitlin, happy belated birthday. It was so nice to meet you. Thank you for saying something. And it's still weird to be recognized, but I was really touched that you said something. So I'm so glad you found the shop, and happy stitching with your new stuff. So, okay. Coming down off the high, because that was a lot of stuff. It's a mess over here. Don't look at that too close. Next thing I wanted to talk about this weekend, by the time you see this video, it's probably almost done, but Stephanie with Lindy Stitches is hosting a virtual event called the Nash Stash Startathon. And so I thought, well, why not start more things? Because that's exactly what I need to do. And so I have 2 projects that I will be starting this weekend. One of them I started just briefly, just enough to say it's a start. Oh, this is another black cat bag. Look, it's Barbie. I love it. I love Tiffany's bags. So this chart is, I'm calling her a friend now because I've met her enough times. Colleen, you're my friend. I hope that's okay. Rebel Stitcher Designs. She has this new chart out called Disagree, and it's incredibly timely and beautifully done. And so I am stitching this. Just started it last night, like I said. Colleen stitched hers on a 32 count crypt cloth by Lap and Loops. I'm using the same fabric. This is 36 count, however. I changed my color to Seaweed by Weeks Dye Works. And let me get something behind this. I like green. You all know that by now. So this is my meager little start. So you can see actually on the chart, I started right here on this side. So here I am. So it's just a tiny start. I'm going to work on this some more today during the startathon. And yeah, Colleen, thank you for charting this, designing this. It's a beautiful piece and I'm excited. I think I'm going to hang it in my office once I get it all finished and framed. And the other piece that I'm going to start today, Jen is having a stitchy day down at Floss and Flame. I'm headed down there soon. And I need to get some flosses for this, because isn't that how it works? You get a chart, you look through your stash, and you have every other Gentle Arts color but the one you need, or you have every other Classic Colorworks but the one you need. And that's how this chart worked. I think I have every DMC but the one. So anyway, this is AD Sampler 1894 by Red Barn Samplers. I just think this is darling. I was talking about it with a friend on Tuesday. Robin, I hope that you start this soon too, because it's cute. It's small, 77 by 77, so I think it's going to come together quickly. I need to pull the flosses, but I have this piece of Delaware Crossing by NAF. What fabric dyer is NAF? You're probably all shouting at me. I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. But this is a blue. And I know that there's some blue in this chart. I'm not the best with color, but I found this and I thought, for this little tiny chart, I think it might work. It would give it a totally different look. So, I mean, this is like golds and greens and reds, and there's a little bit of blue, but we're going to try it. We're going to do a floss toss on this and see. I have some fabric, you know, here at home. I'm going to take a couple options, but I thought maybe on a blue that would be pretty. So, NAF, that's going to kill me. If I figure it out, I'm going to put it in the comments, because, or in the box, you know, because I should know what that is. I bought this online from Shepherd's Needle. They were having a sale at Christmas, and I thought it was a pretty color. So those are my 2 starts for the Nash Stash Startathon. Okay. last thing before we get into plans, I'm part of the Delaware Valley Historic Sampler Guild, and we have a program called the Secret Stitcher, and what you do is you sign up and you are assigned a person, someone else is assigned you, and all year you get to send little gifts back and forth anonymously to each other, and it's just kind of a fun way to, you know, enable each other, spoil each other, and it's been really fun to participate in. It's been fun to watch my recipient receive their things, and it's been fun to receive things myself. And so I just yesterday got in the mail my chart, or my package from them. They must, I'm guessing they know me well, because these are my absolute favorite. I have loved these since I was in high school when I found them. Used to, you could only find them at Easter, and now they make them for a lot of holidays. I still only buy them at Easter, but these Cadbury mini eggs, they're just chocolate on the inside with a candy shell. They're so good. And so a little package of these, thank you. And then a sweet card. And then these are from Tiger Lily, and they're little project information cards, but they're so pretty. Look at how pretty these are. So pretty. And so on the back, there's, you know, information about the project. So that's neat. You can tuck that in a project bag. They sent me one of those It's So Emma bags that you can stitch on. So I'll have to find a chart to stitch on this. And then from Shakespeare's Peddler, this is Flowers That Bloom. And they sent me the Weeks Dye Works floss for it as well, some of it. So thank you to my secret stitcher. That was so sweet and such a pleasant surprise to find in my mailbox. Okay, so plans. WIPGO. Jessie Marie called the numbers for April. What month are we in? We're in April, or coming up to April. So she called number 4 and number 10. And so I wanted to talk about what those were for me. This chart, man, I need to find a different bag because this is not it. But this is Botanical Bee by Hands On Design. This was her release at market last year, and I loved it and still haven't stitched it. So I'm going to get this going. This was my number 4 call. And so I'd love to get this done and finished. I've got the little bee pin that goes on the top, and I'm stitching it on a pretty blue. I don't think it's a called for, but it's something similar. So once I get that started, you'll find out all the details in my next video. And my number 10, this is an oldie. This is called Primitive Pumpkin by You and I and Friends. And there she is. It's a long, skinny piece. I guess I have a type. So I bought this at a shop in Iowa. It was half price, but it's one of those old envelopes that you just kind of take the fabric, take the thing and wrap it around. And it looks like I have shoved the fabric and the floss down into there. So I am ready to roll. So Primitive Pumpkin was my number 10 call for WIPGO. So I'll get started on those. I'm going to work on a couple other projects, continue my 2 pieces that I started from the Nash Stash Startathon. Like I said, I'm going to Floss and Flame today on Saturday for a Stitchy Day. I'm excited about that. And then in 2 weeks, I'm so excited. I am flying to Cincinnati to visit 3 of my girlfriends from StitchCon. So I met them, this will be our 3rd StitchCon together this summer. So 2 years ago, I guess, 3 years ago, however you count that, we met. They added me to their table. I was kind of a loner, and we really hit it off. And so then the next year we met and we kind of expanded to 2 tables because we had other friends coming from other years. And so they all are kind of locally in a drivable distance from each other. And so I'm going to fly in just for the weekend. Rebecca's going to host us, and I'm so excited to see you all and probably eat some of Morgan's delicious food and, you know, pet the dog and, or dogs. I think, Rebecca, do you have lots of dogs? I feel like you do. Stitch some. Who knows what else we'll do. It's going to be a whirlwind. I'm really excited. We've talked about this for a long time, and finally, you know, I got my stuff together to get out there. So excited to see you girls and spend some time with some friends, different stitchy friends. I'm so, you know, I'm really fortunate to have stitchy friends in a lot of places. So excited to see you guys. And then another Flosstuber, someone I met on Flosstube, Oh, and Jess, I'm going to get your name wrong. That librarian lady, Jess? Jess at Librarian Lady? Something like that. I'll put it on the screen. I'll tag her in the comments. She is down near Baltimore, which is about an hour and a bit from me. And I had told her, hey, you know, I think we're pretty close. And so she reached out and said, would you like to get together? So we're going to try to get together this month and go to her LNS down in Baltimore and grab breakfast, brunch, lunch, something like that. So I'm looking forward to meeting her. She's a librarian, which I love. She stitches a lot of really fun things. And so if you haven't checked out her channel, you really should. So that's what I've got for cross stitch. If you've made it this far, my phone tells me it's almost 50 minutes. Thank you. I just blabbed for almost an hour at you. If you can't tell, March was a really good month for me cross stitch wise, and I hope that it was for you too. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your kind words. If you're able this week, reach out to someone that comes to your mind and just let them know you're thinking of them. I was reminded this month that means a lot to people, and it means a lot to me when that happens for me too. So, you know, if you can see someone and help them feel seen, help them feel loved, I think that's important. And, you know, enjoy your stitching, whatever you're working on. I hope that you have a great month. And as the weather warms up, I hope that you are able to get outside and enjoy it if you're able. If you'd like to stay for books, then here we are. I've got some books to talk about, some things that I've read, some things that I'm reading, plans to read. So here we go. All right, the first one I'm going to put on the screen is Legends and Lattes. This is by Travis Baldree. I gave this one 5 stars. I loved it. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, but I love the fantasy component of it. The storytelling was good. There was a little tiny bit of romance. It was fun. I liked it, and I would recommend it if you need something different. The next one, if I could give it 10 stars, I would. This is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. If you are a fan of Sleepless in Seattle, if you love 90s romance movies as much as I do, you have to read this one. So fun, such a sweet story. I laughed, I cried, I did all of the things, and was a little sad when it ended. It was open door. Not a lot of it, but it was. So just keep that in mind if you're, you know, wanting to watch the spice level. Another one that I read, which I had on a to be read list for a long time, and I'm not sure where I heard about it, but it was wild and bizarre, and on audiobook it was really good. It's called Sweet Girl. This is by Travis Mulhauser. I gave this one 3.5 stars. The story was a little predictable, but I enjoyed the pacing a lot, especially as an audiobook. I was sucked into the story. Tells the story of basically people's trials through a winter storm as they're trying to, you know, outrun the bad guy and save the world kind of thing. I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but I really enjoyed it. And as an audiobook, I would recommend. And then the last one was part of a mystery book club that I've started attending. It's called You Will Be Mine by Natasha Preston. It was a YA read, which I read sometimes. I didn't realize that going in. If I had, maybe my expectations would have been a little bit different. I just gave this one 3 stars. It was okay. A little predictable. The author, I think, started on Wattpad, which is like not a fan fiction, but kind of a self-published start. And so, you know, the writing wasn't like, you know, Iowa Writers Workshop level writing, but it was an interesting story. I wanted to read to the end to see how they wrapped it up. A little predictable, but you know, if you need something different, it was kind of a palate cleanser, and that's okay. I enjoyed the discussion with the girls, so that was worth it too. So books that I'm reading right now, one was recommended to me by someone on Instagram, so thank you for that. I love it. It's a slow read because it's so quirky. Let me find the copyright on this, because I had to order it from Thrift Books because you can't buy it really anywhere else. 1980. So this book predates me, sadly. This is called All My Patients Are Under the Bed, Memoirs of a Cat Doctor by Dr. Louis J. Camudi. And this book has seen better days. It's pretty, you know, yellowed and old, but it's really enjoyable. He talks about his life as a cat doctor in New York City. He started practicing like in the 40s, and so when he wrote this, he'd been practicing for a long time. He goes to people's homes, and so he talks about his experience, you know, having them trap their cats in the bathroom before he gets there, the crazy antics that cats do, different ways that he's taking care of people. He talked about his method for, as he got older, he couldn't do stairs in a lot of the walk-up apartments. He had the people come down to the lobby. It's bizarre. It's funny. You can tell he really likes cats, and he does a good job, but I would have never found this book had it not been recommended, and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you for that recommendation. Another one I'm reading as an ebook right now, I'm going to put on the screen. It's called 3 Things About Emmy Crawford. It's by Allison Bitts. She also wrote a book. I just talked about it on my Instagram. I don't remember. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. I'm going to put a picture of that book right here. Loving this one so far. Allison is a Nebraska author. She actually grew up just down the road from where I did, went to another little small town school, and she still lives in Nebraska. I believe she's in the mental health field now, but she also writes. These are YA books, but really enjoyable. And this one, 3 Things About Emmy Crawford, has been fun to read, and it's just something different, and I think I have a special connection because Allison is a Cornhusker. And then 2 books I picked up from the library when I was last there. Haven't started either of these, but they're on my list. This first one is by Naima Simone. It's called Church Girl. I read a lot of romance, guys, okay? It's fine. It's all reading books, right? She's a preacher's daughter, she's a nanny, and he's a tattoo artist with a beautiful daughter and a dirty mouth. So you can just tell, like, you know, bad guy, good girl kind of vibes. But I've never read anything by this author. She is author of color, and so I look forward to reading that. I try to find diverse reads when I can. So saw this one, picked it up. Don't know anything about it besides what I read on the back. I've heard lots about this one. I read something else that this author wrote, and now I can't think of what it was. But Casey McQuiston, this is called The Pairing. It is another romance about 2 friends. One of them is now a sommelier, and the other one is he's a pastry chef. And so, you know, they were enemies and then estranged, and now they meet back up in Europe, and it's called The Pairing. And the spine on this is very pretty. It says, "Some things taste better together." You can see like the Eiffel Tower is on there. So I don't know. Sometimes you just need to escape. And this just looks like a lot of fun. And I love Casey McQuiston, especially writing about queer romance. I think that's fun too. And important to read those representative stories. So I'm not able to attend book club this month just because I'll be traveling. My daughter and I are headed back to Nebraska at the end of April for my stepbrother's wedding. And so excited to do a little more traveling and see my parents again. And or see my dad and stepmom at least. And yeah, it'll be good. So April will be quick, I'm sure. Lots of travel for me this month, but also lots of stitchy plans. We'll see what else I find to read in the month. But until I see you next time, I hope that you are doing well. Let me know what you're reading if you are able. And if you have a book recommendation you think I might enjoy, send it my way. I appreciate those. And you know, like that cat book, it's not something I would have ever found myself, but I'm loving it. So anyway, I've talked enough. Thanks for sticking with me. And I hope that this catches you on a good day. And like I said, get outside, enjoy some sun if you're able, and enjoy your stitching.